It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
G'day everyone, welcome to our FIFA World Cup 2022 daily live streams here on the Trademate Sports Betting podcast. Today we will be previewing tomorrow's group games, which are on group games. We are still in the groups. Feels like finals time now that it's the last round. Australia versus Denmark, Tunisia versus France, Poland versus Argentina, and Saudi Arabia versus Mexico. So those last games in groups C and D. As always, if you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, bets you like for tomorrow's games, please send them through the live chat, and Ryan and I will discuss them and give our points of view. But good to have you here, Ryan, Smart Sports Trader. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, I've been enjoying the football. It's been a pretty decent World Cup so far. Quite a few upsets, comebacks. It's been good for trading, and been doing quite a lot of live betting on it. So yeah, it's been really good.
I know, mate. Every time I see you post a tweet saying this looks value, mate, they all end up winning. You must be raking it in.
Yeah, I'm on a good run at the moment, but with betting that can always change quite quickly. So I'll enjoy it while I can. Yeah.
You like doing pre-green screening, basically, mate.
Yeah, I'm trying to, mate. Yeah, it's a bit of a rarity on Twitter, so you gotta try it every now and again.
Yeah, I know. Good stuff, mate. Do you watch the games today? Obviously, the big ones were Senegal and Ecuador, which was a very important game to see who goes through. The other one, Iran and the US. You catch any of those games today? And any thoughts, mate?
I didn't catch the US-Iran game. I was watching England, but I did watch Senegal and Ecuador, and that was a really good game. I had both teams in the outrights at big numbers. I think I've got Senegal at like 180, and I think I had Ecuador at something like 300. So just for one of them to get through was quite good, and hopefully, Senegal might knock England out, and then that'll soften the blow a little bit if I can kind of trade out at the surprise. But yeah, I don't think Senegal will go too far. They've got a bit of quality in the side. They've got like Koulibaly at the back, and they've got the two gays as well, who are decent players. And yeah, they've got a bit going forward, but I don't think they'll have enough really to trouble the bigger sides. Yeah,
and thoughts on it. I was watching the USA-Iran game, which was pretty poor for someone who was very much cheering home on Iran. They're not the greatest attacking threats you've ever seen in the world. Once they go down a goal, you you almost give up. But your thoughts on England? Obviously, one of the tournament favourites.
Yeah, they looked a lot better in this game. They pressed a lot harder. They were just a bit more energetic. They were moving the ball quicker, and I think Foden's inclusion was really positive for the team, and Rashford's looking really sharp as well. So I just think with the attacking threat England have got, and the fact that you can kind of rotate players. If players aren't having a good game, you've got the likes of Maddison and Grealish and Foden to bring on. Maybe Rashford starts the next game, and Saka or Sterling might be on the bench. So you've got a lot of options there. So yeah, it looks likely that we'll run into France in the quarterfinals. But at the end of the day, it's football, and any team can beat another team over just one game, like we saw with Saudi Arabia and Argentina. So fingers crossed we have a good run.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does with the side going forward, because he has loved Saka and Sterling in the past, but maybe today showed that putting someone like Foden and Rashford in that might be more advantageous. But we'll have to wait and see. Southgate's very much a man of he kind of sticks solid with those kind of guys. So I kind of doubt that he switches things up, but it'll be interesting to see. Either way, he'll get ridiculed probably.
If we don't win, he will. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one, mate. And I thought the US looked great today. They really did. They probably should have put more past Iran. But yeah, I think they were. They kind of just kept Iran, especially in that first half. Iran had no side on goal at all. They didn't get close, and I know Iran aren't the biggest attacking threat in the world, but yeah, USA were, I think over the three games, they definitely looked the second best side in the group. So be an interesting game with them and the Dutch. I think the Dutch haven't really impressed too much so far. So be interesting to see if the US can give it to them, mate. Let's look at the games for tomorrow to kick things off. Big one to get us going, mate. Australia versus Denmark. I cannot believe that we have got to the last game of the group here in Australia with a chance of going through. So it just needed a draw to go through. But I will say, watching that game versus Tunisia, they expended a lot of energy to get the win over Tunisia. They led in the very, very hard, very much on the front foot trying to get to Tunisia, and by the game be wrecked. So, 4 days later, I'd be very sceptical as to what kind of shape that the Australians will be in for this one. But Denmark, on the other hand, I might be having some connection issues here. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. It's lagging a little bit, but I can hear you.
Right. Okay. Hopefully, you lose me. We're live, and this is what happens when you're live. But hopefully I can get through this. Yeah, it's buffering a little bit. Not much I can do. And just hope that we are okay. All right. Is that a bit better?
Yeah, it's slightly better for me, mate.
Yeah, I think hopefully that is a little bit better. Let me just run to see if I can make sure, mate. Hold the fort, mate, for me. All right. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can just keep going and see if and hopefully it improves over time. There's really nothing I can do other than
to be all right now. The audio is good anyway.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Basically, as I was saying, Australia expended a lot of energy in that game against Tunisia. So I am worried about how they'll pull up 4 days later. And then on the other hand, you've got Denmark though. They've been in pretty. Would you say they're kind of one of the disappointments of the tournament so far, mate? And I know I look at the odds here and I think 1.51 for Denmark, the draw 4.51. Australia 6.71, Asian handicap is at 1, and the over/under at 2.5. I kind of, people probably say I'm biased, but potentially Denmark are a little bit short here considering their form lately.
Yeah, I think they've looked a little bit flat and they've lacked a bit of a cutting edge really and a bit of quality going forward. But like you say, I think they'll have a lot of the ball in this game. It might be similar to the kind of England game that we saw today against Wales, where it's just going to take Denmark time to break Australia down because Australia are quite resilient. They know what they're doing. There's not a huge amount of quality in that Australian team, but they will work hard. And like you say, there might be some after effects after that Tunisia game because they were kind of hanging on a little bit. There was a lot of last-ditch tackles going in, and they will have exerted a lot of energy. So I'd probably be looking to kind of back Denmark in the second half. If Denmark have had a lot of possession, and are making Australia run in the first half, I think that, going into that second half, they are going to tire. And then I think Denmark will be able to find a bit more space and they'll probably be able to get a goal or two. So the way I was kind of thinking about playing the game is like I often look to play these games live and I'll be looking at Denmark in the second half. If they look good in the first half and they've had a lot of possession, try and back up like 1.7, 1.8 and getting around then.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's just hard to get too excited about Denmark at those odds, considering their issues they've had breaking down. I do think though the back end of that France game, maybe they were starting to work things out a little bit and create some more chances. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they'll be able to break. Obviously I do think that Denmark will most likely win this game. I just thought maybe you'd get Denmark at about maybe 1.7, something around that. But yeah, it does. The Aussies, the Aussies tiring it really does worry me, mate. Especially, they sat back for essentially that whole half for Tunisia, the second half. So it kind of shows that they are happy to, park the bus very early in the game at the start of the second half. And yeah, after that, they weren't really able to create too many big chances. So yeah, no, I don't mind that play, mate. If the Australia can keep them out early in the game to kind of look at the second half markets. But yeah, anything else you wanted to say on that game, or we go on the next one?
No, that's about it, really, mate.
All right. Tunisia, France. France have sealed top spot in Group D. Chance. I think the biggest thing with the odds here is you probably have to worry about France resting a few players. I don't know. Could you see them resting someone like Mbappe? I kind of feel like Mbappe would be like, no, I want to play and score more goals.
I think there'll be rotation, definitely, because it's kind of like, why would you risk it? There's no need to risk your key players in a game that you don't need to win. And that French side has a lot of depth as well, doesn't it? Like, even if you're taking Mbappe out, you've got like Dembele or someone on the bench to replace him. So there's quality throughout. I do have a play for this game. I took it yesterday, but I took over 2.5 goals at 1.92 I got, and it was even money earlier on in the week, but that's been getting backed in, and it's obviously Tunisia have to win this game. So they can't just sit back and defend and kind of soak up pressure. They are going to have to try and win the game. And obviously France don't need to win the game, but they've got such quality and such attacking players that they're going to be, they're going to have a lot of freedom to play how they want to play. And I think they are going to, want to go forward and score goals. So I could see this, I could see the odds on over 2.5 coming into about 1.8, 1.85 range. So I'd probably take that now, because I do think by tomorrow that will shorten.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals, sitting at 1.84 there at the moment. I'm just looking through who was on the bench for France in the last game, just so we can get an idea if they do rotate who we could be seeing. You've still got the likes of Pavard. Who else have we got? Fofana, Saliba, Coman, Kanate, Camavinga. So you would think potentially they could rotate. Sorry?
Yeah. I mean, Kingsley Coman and Camavinga are both, very fast, good attacking players to bring on. They're going to be chomping at the bit as well, because they're going to want to prove themselves and try and get games in the knockout as well. So yeah, I got 192 last night on the over. So I'll just check on Betfair what it is. Was it 184 on Pinnacle?
Yeah, this is Pinnacle, mate. Yeah. But I still think
you can get 1.9 on Betfair. Yeah, 1.9 on Betfair, so that's good.
Yeah, and the match odds for this one were 1.44 for France, the draw 4.51, and Tunisia 8.56. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd have to get up odds checker, but if there's maybe some combinations of France to win and over 1.5 goals, potentially that could be another angle. I do agree with you, mate. France scoring, more than one goal in this does look reasonably likely, given that Tunisia will be trying hard to score. And I mean, even if Mbappe just plays one half, or even just limited minutes, like that's enough for him to score a goal. And on the counter attack, like he's just lethal, mate. So I'm just trying to see if there's any markets here for Yeah, I'm not very good at odds checker. Yeah, I'm
No,
trying
you'd
to
be
see
able
if
to
there's
do like
any.
a bet builder, wouldn't you, on Bet365 or any of those type of
Well, you can
bookies?
get.
But I don't know what type of odds you get. I'm banned from all them now, so it's not something I do. But I know that some guys look at using them, don't they?
Yeah, so you get France over 1.5 goals at about 1.7s, something like that,
All
which I
right.
think is pretty. It's kind of, you're kind of just taking away the 1-0 France victory, which doesn't seem like a very, it doesn't seem like a very probable scoreline given
No, it
the,
doesn't, no.
given how the game might play out. So yeah, that could be a potential angle for everyone there to get on side with the French. But I still think, I mean, even 1.44 for the French, I think that's that's not too bad value. I mean, Tunisia got clearly outplayed by Australia for a lot of that game, and France obliterated Australia for the most part. So, yeah, that does seem like a little bit of value there. Maybe at 1.44, I wouldn't be surprised if that continued to shorten up, mate. But yeah, I like the overs angle. It's come in a little bit now. I'll have a quick look and see if you can still get the overs anywhere else on odds checker here. Oh mate, I'm so bad at odds checker. How about we just move on? I don't have to use it, mate. We don't have anything like this in Australia, so I'm very don't really use it at all.
That the 1.7 looks good because if you just play the over 1.5 goals in the game overall, it's 1.3. So I think 1.7 just for France to score 2 goals is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, mate. Well, we will be watching that with a keen eye tomorrow. Let's move on to Poland versus Argentina. I think these Group C games of odds wise, I think they are the most interesting. Big game here, Argentina versus Poland. You got Argentina at one. Argentina are definitely not 1.9. I
The
think it's 1.4.
151
Yeah, I meant to
on
say 1.
Betfair.
Yeah, so I'll quickly change that. 1.51 for Argentina. The draw 4.15. Poland at 8.19. Asian handicap at 1 and over under 2.25 goals. Yeah, Argentina, one of the most, you could say they've been disappointing, but they have been largely disappointing for most of the tournament in terms of their results, and only really scraped through versus Mexico. It took just a little bit of messy brilliance to get them over the line there. A draw gets Poland through here, though, so you think they would set up pretty defensively. Do you think that's how Poland may play here? Sit back a little, considering the success Mexico had against Argentina to kind of, Argentina weren't really able to create much at all. I don't know what I feel like the XG was like unbelievably low. I can't remember, but Argentina were not that impressive against the Mexicans.
No, they didn't create much at all. Like Lautaro Martinez up front had basically scraps. I don't think he had any chances or any shots. And like it was 2 kind of individual moments that won them that game. It was Messi and then the guy that they brought on. I can't remember his name. The substitute that they brought on. But yeah, they struggled to break down Mexico. And Mexico are a team that do have a lot of runners and a lot of energy. But then they're not blessed with a huge amount of quality. They do have some decent players, and Poland obviously have a bit more up front as well in Lewandowski and Milik, and Zelensky is pretty decent as well. So, they're going to be a threat from set pieces if they can get corners. So, yeah, I do think they'll sit back. I've got a bet in this. I've bet Poland +1 goal at 2.1 on the Asian handicap, just because I do think it'll be a tight game. And like I say, I think Argentina again might need a moment of brilliance from Messi or one of the bigger players. And Poland are they're definitely capable of getting a goal themselves as well. So yeah, I think the +1 is quite generous, to be honest, at 2.1. I was expecting Poland maybe to be plus 0.75, and I think it's more just the fact that it's Argentina need to win the game, so I think that's pushing the price in a bit. And obviously they were they were second favourites going into the tournament as well. So I think there's a bit of a bias there. But yeah, I think Poland are the kind of value side in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. You can get Poland +1 at 2.12 at Pinnacle as we speak right now. The only thing is Poland haven't looked great either, have they? No, I mean,
No.
none. The best team in this group has probably been Saudi Arabia, like overall, like, or maybe not the best team, but you know what I mean, like the most impressive, I guess you could say. Poland have just, they've lacked a lot. But the thing is unlike Mexico, they can put away a chance. You know, Mexico do not have much up front at all. They don't score many goals. But the thing is, if you give Poland half a sniff, you know, they can easily score 1-2 goals in this game if you just give them a little sniff. And I know Argentina have been defensively quite solid, but you know, Poland could rack up 0.1 or 2 xG and still score 1 or 2 goals. So they've got Lewandowski up front. It's a completely different game here. So yeah, I agree, mate. My only issue with the +1 is, if Argentina are 1-0 up and Poland are fighting incredibly hard to get that equaliser, because they probably do need to get a draw here at the very least. So that would be my only worry, that they could try, you know, overly hard, if you get what I mean, and end up conceding a late goal. But yeah, I still think, +1 at 2.12 is value. There is actually, I did a little bit of maths. If Mexico win by maybe just 1 goal versus Saudi Arabia and Poland lose by 1 goal, then Poland still go through. Yeah. So that kind of negates everything I just said. Even if Poland are losing by 1 goal, they might be like, what's the score in the Mexico game? And they're like,
but
Mexico winning.
Saudi Arabia are capable of getting a result in that game, I think. So it's it'll be interesting tomorrow. I quite look forward to watching those games.
Yeah. We've got a comment here from Loch Ness. Yes, maybe it is. Argentina need to start Enzo Fernandez. Impressive numbers in FBref for progressive passes, non-penalty XG plus assists, etc. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they set up, because I think largely the Argentinians in midfield have looked they've looked really different ever since Lo Celso was ruled out through injury. I think I can't remember exactly who their midfield 3 was for the games prior to the World Cup, but I have heard that, Lo Celso being out has kind of been quite a loss for the Argentinian midfield. Any thoughts on if they'll start Enzo, mate?
I have no idea, to be honest. I'm with this tournament, I have done well betting and trading it, but in terms of like deep analysis into the teams and stuff, I've not really done it, to be honest. I see players that, you know, I'm not very familiar with, but I think in tournament football though, it's really good live, because you see massive corrections like during the game. So sometimes within like 20-30 minutes, you'll see like a team go from, so like Ecuador versus Qatar, you saw Ecuador go from like 2.3 to like 1.9 within the first 20 minutes of a game, and you never see that in the Premier League, or you might see it in the Champions League possibly, but because it's tournament football, there are like big shifts. So for me, I've not had to do like that deep analysis to find value, and I think if you're able to bet live, it's really worth you know, watching the games and seeing what you can find, because sometimes it is a case of you just watching a game and it's just like these odds are clearly wrong, and it's as simple as that. If you know football, you can probably do okay. So that would be kind of my, you know, if I could give one piece of advice for this tournament, would be to watch it live and tackle live betting and see how you do.
Yeah, I guess there's such a low sample size on a lot of these teams that, the bookies are taking every little bit of information and reacting, you know, probably too much.
I think there's big overreactions as well, like the Spain and Germany game. Like you saw Spain go from, you saw Germany obviously lose the first game and go from like 2.8 to 3.25 before the game started, and you know that was a pretty even game. So it works both ways. You know, you can find overreactions after just one game as well.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that in the Australian-Tunisia game that was like Australia were favourites, and then after one game, Australia went from favourite or slight favourites in that game to out to like 4+. I thought it was value, but I was wondering if my bias was well and truly getting involved, so I stayed out. But yeah, I know what you mean, mate. It's those, and hopefully we can spot some more of that as we go along. And I think bias-wise, this is a good example of it. Mexico versus Saudi Arabia. If you've been watching all the games, then I think these odds will look very peculiar to most people. You've got Saudi Arabia at 4.77, the draw at 4.26, Mexico at 1.71, Asian handicap 0.75, and the over-under at 2.5. Game state here is Mexico need a win, and probably that they potentially need a 2+ goal here win, like I mentioned before. Saudi Arabia also need a win too, but could potentially go through with a draw, also dependent on the results in the Argentinian game. Yeah, I can get us kicked off on this one, mate. I'm so surprised by the odds on this one. Mexico at 1.71 just makes zero sense to me. I would have thought Mexico would be above evens at least. Saudis were nearly on level with XG. They only just lost to Poland on XG. The thing with them is they probably just lack the firepower up front. But then you look at Mexico and their performances too. Pretty boring old game against Poland, and then couldn't create a thing versus Argentina. I can understand obviously Mexico being favourites; they're the classier team. But do you see as big of a gap, this big between the two sides?
No, so I've got a bet on this game as well. I back Saudi Arabia at 5.2, but I suppose it's kind of contradictory to what I was talking about in terms of overreactions, because in the first, after they beat Argentina, I ended up backing Poland in the next game because Poland went from something like 1.55 to 1.85. So I thought that was value, and I think they closed at about 1.78, 1.79 Poland just before the game started. But then when I was watching the game, Saudi Arabia again looked decent, so it wasn't just a one-off performance against Argentina. So now that I've got a 2-game sample, I suppose I'm a little bit more confident that the Saudi Arabian team, does have some quality in it, and they do have a huge amount of backing as well. And it's going to be history making if they do get the win. So I think odds of 5.2 are big because, you've got that massive support. Obviously, they've got a good manager who they seem to respond well to, given that everybody's seen that kind of halftime talk in the Argentina game now. And like you say, Mexico haven't looked that clinical themselves. They do have some good players, like Lozano's decent, and obviously they've got Jimenez, but he's not been playing. I don't know if it's injury or just the manager doesn't like him, but they do seem to kind of lack too much of an attacking threat. And I think this will be a competitive game. So I was quite happy to take them at odds of anything above 5. I thought was really generous.
Yeah, some comments here from the viewers, and they tend to agree with us, mate. John Pereiro Pro, I'm sorry, I probably completely botched your last name there, mate. So Saudi is really underrated. Lock Yes says guest punters overestimate Mexico's pedigree of always getting into the knockout phase. Yeah, I agree with that massively. Mexico haven't scored a goal yet. Saudis have a great defensive line. Saw it in the friendly versus Croatia just before the World Cup. And he also states here that Mexico potentially have a lot of recreational money going on for them in the markets. I've bet Mexico. Oh, sorry, no, I did not. I bet Saudi Arabia draw no bet. I think I got 380 yesterday. I'll have a quick look and see if that's come in at all. Let me have a quick look at draw no bet. Sorry, guys. Oh, God. Oh, here we go. Well, you can get 3.76 for draw no bet on Saudi Arabia still. Yeah, like you said, I would be happy to back them to win the game, but the problem is that they could settle for a draw if they're getting live scores or whatever from the other game in the group, Argentina versus Poland. I just get worried that potentially I was thinking about backing them on the handicap because you get plus 0.75. Just a little bit worried that, if they are down a goal, which, if they were down 1 goal, you would get half of your stake back. But if they were down 1 goal, that they could potentially, like I was saying before, the other game, really push it and get exposed at the back by the Mexicans. But I think this is one of the bets of the tournament here. I mean, I just see this as quite quite big value. If anyone's been watching the games, you would at least have these teams on par, I would think, in terms of some of their performances. I mean, Saudis looked good against Poland.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I can't really kind of give you tell you why the odds are the way they are. I mean, there must be some reason, obviously. But yeah, I do think Saudi Arabia is the right side.
Yeah. Good stuff, mate. All right. Well, that wraps up the games for tomorrow. Nice and quick today. Out of all the bets you've given away today, you've got, you say you back Saudi Arabia to win the game, Poland +1 at evens, and also you've had a bet on Australia versus Denmark over 2.5 goals. Was it, mate? Which one of those is your favourite?
It was a France-Tunisia over 2.5 goals.
Sorry, mate.
Which I like, yeah. I think that's a good bet. But
you also backed Australia to win too.
-3 on the Asian handicap. But no, I like the France-Tunisia over 2.5 goals. If you can get 1.9, which is I think available on Betfair right now, I think that's good. I think that'll be shorter tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, mate. And for myself, I like all the bets you've given out today, like +1 on Poland too. At the Asian handicap above evens. But I guess I'll just go with the bet I've actually already placed myself. Saudi Arabia, draw no bet. I think 3s and above is good, but you can get as high as 3.75. Maybe you're better to get some more on the exchanges there. I think that's...
it's 3.9. I just had a look. So
yeah, I think that's pretty decent value, mate. Looking ahead to the rest of the tournament, are there any outright bets you like in terms of trading? You're kind of the trading extraordinaire out of all the guests we get on, mate. So is there any any futures trades, outright trades that you're liking at the moment? I've kind of put you on the spot here.
Not really. I have, I took a few pre-tournament. I had Argentina odds of 7, which looks really bad now. So like I said, you don't always get everything. You don't always get things right. But no, I've been focusing more on live bets, and then in these group games, just making bets for the next game off the performance of the first games worked quite well. So yeah, I'll just continue to try and trade live and make live bets because it's been going well, and I think there'll be some good opportunities. So.
Good stuff, mate. All right, we will be back tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m, probably a little bit after, given these games are running over a little bit. And I'm obviously sweating these games, so it's I don't want to miss a second. So we'll be back, a little bit after 9 p.m. UK time tomorrow. You can find Ryan on Twitter at SM Sports Trader. Make sure you give him a follow because he's been posting some great stuff in terms of the in-play markets and what he's liking the looks of while the games are going on. So be a good little tool for you guys to follow along as these games are going. But thanks for listening, everyone. Please make sure you do a quick rate and review of the podcast and subscribe to the podcast if it's your first time listening. And if you're looking to implement some of the strategies we talked about today on the show, more so the value betting ones, please make sure you start a free week trial of Trademate Sports and start your value betting journey. Great to catch up, mate. Talk a little bit of football or soccer, whatever you call it, and maybe we'll catch up later in the tournament.
Yeah, always good to talk. See you later.
All right. See you guys.